Crossover games. Everyone loves these type of games. Seeing characters from different universes fight each other will always be one of the most hyped concepts in gaming, and it's even better when a story is incorporated into the game, when we get to see these characters interact with each other for the first time. That's one reason why I love Brawl so much. Yeah, there were no voices in the cutscenes, but that didn't stop 7-year-old me from playing this 24/7. And yet, when it comes to anime, the crossover games are either mobile or just completely ass. Yeah, we barely see concepts like this because of the character IPs and the fact that companies don't want to share revenue. But even if that's the case though, that shouldn't stop us from getting a good crossover game. Shonen Jump had a few crossover games, and most of them are pretty forgettable. But the most prominent games we ever got in this genre were J-Star's Victory and Jump Force. J-Star's Victory was decent for its time. It wasn't anything revolutionary, but the roster was crazy. Because what do you mean I could play as Kuroko, Chitogi, and Lala in a fighting game? You are never seeing those three in the same game ever again. And the intro of the game was perfect. They used a common-like art style, and this shit felt like you were about to play an actual anime game. But as you already know, they didn't even try to use that style and gave us this shit. Then we got Jump Force. When it was announced in 2018 and set to drop at the beginning of 2019, everyone and their families had this game up. So we're expecting them to give us something we have never seen before. This was supposed to be it. And when it finally dropped, it was one of the biggest disappointments of all time. The fighting mechanics were boring, it took almost no skill to learn, the story was lazy, the cutscenes were annoying to look at, the loading screens were unbearable, and then you got these randos taking up spots for characters that should actually be in the roster. And now in 2026, the game is practically dead now. This entire thing was just a fan service cash grab for all these greedy corporate people. And the worst part, this isn't just a Jump Force problem. This is something that happens with anime games in general. Either a game gets insanely hyped up, completely fails and disappears, never to be seen again, or it actually lives up to the hype for a while, and then that same company slowly kills it with a lack of updates and support. I'm sensing a pattern here, not gonna lie. So yeah, these companies don't care. All they gotta do is get a popular anime, turn it into an arena fighter, and go on with their day. Give it a rest with these annoying ass arena fighters and do something at least different, like maybe giving us a fighting platform game or something. As much as I hate Nintendo as a company, they at least know how to keep their games alive. From what I know, they still give tiny bits of updates to Ultimate if something seems wrong. And overall, it's a fun game to easily get into, especially with friends. Brawl is still better though. But how about we imagine something like this? A Shonen Jump characters roster in a Smash-like game platform. Not an exact copy, there can be some changes so issues wouldn't occur. And then you can give a decent story mode similar to what Brawl did. Add in some voice acting, and if that's too much, just give more screen time to the people we actually care about. Now you got a game that 99% of anime fans will enjoy heavily if it ever came out. Because if done correctly, platform fighting games most of the time never die out. If it's done correctly. I had to say that for a second time. So if we just had one company taking their sweet and precious time with all the content they can do, thinking of the perfect roster, getting a good writer who can make a good story mode, thinking of the different movesets that can be added, figuring out a way to make the gameplay good, you got yourself a masterpiece, if it's in the right hands. But knowing how some people are, they might think this idea is ass, which would be a crazy thing to say, but either way, for the arena fighter glazers, an alternate option could just be a crossover game and just literally make it like Storm 4. Alright, hold on, let me pause right here. While editing my video, I saw some mods from Sparking Zero that is something that everybody wants. Like, look at these clips, bruh. These modders be cooking with this shit. This should be an example of what the next crossover game should be. But yeah, back to the video. So when they make Storm 4 copies, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be fun to play for a while. And that will be even better with more characters on the roster. Though I would prefer something different than an arena fighter, we have a higher chance of getting this instead of anything else. But back to my other idea, the graphics. Like I said before, the art style in J-Star's intro is peak since they went for the manga-like style. But for some reason, that hyper-realistic look is what these companies like to use. Don't get me wrong, it had potential in Jump Force since the story was about these characters getting transported into a 3D world. But let's be real, nobody wants that shit. All they gotta do is modernize the graphics. They can do it, they're just lazy. Just think outside the box and be creative. Simple. Then with the maps, there's like a lot they can choose from. Avoid what Jump Force did by putting real landmarks, which takes away from the game since we barely got maps from the actual shows, besides the popular ones. And there's not really anything else that you can say for this. They know what to do. At the end of the day though, what I say doesn't matter to these higher ups. I would still like to see some effort though, cause crossovers are always peak and can be done right by the people who are passionate of their work. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Or actually, no it's not. Just realized all this talking got me to like 4 minutes. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna get my own fan-made roster, just so I can show who I want for a game like this. Before I do this though, I gotta put some rules for myself. Number 1, I can't put more than 7 characters from one show. Number 2, I'm only putting Shonen Jump characters, just for now. Either way, let's begin. And the characters I'm gonna do first is One Piece. I'll be honest, it's my least favorite out of these guys, but I don't hate it. Last episode I watched was when Luffy went Gear 5 for the first time, and I enjoyed that episode heavily. Speaking of Luffy, of course he's gonna be in the roster, so we're adding our boy here. The next two are also obvious answers. For example, Zoro, because he's always been my favorite character from the show and he's a real ass nigga. And then Sanji, who has his moments. Then I'm gonna put Law and Boy since they've been in previous games. Then Kaido, cause he's a major antagonist, so you need something like that in the roster. And finally Shanks, cause the stuff he be doing is tough. Ooh, I don't wanna play as him. I really wanted to add Yamato, but that would lead to 8 characters. So if I had to replace a character, I'll replace Ball Hancock. But for now, yeah, this is who I want from One Piece. Now we're at Dragon Ball, aka the most inspirational anime of all time. Rest in peace to Toriyama, man. Carried the childhoods of generations. With the Dragon Ball roster, Goku and Vegeta gotta be here. Add that boy Piccolo, cause we all fuck with Piccolo. Then I had to put in Gohan, cause for some reason they always be leaving Gohan out of shit. Cause I ain't seen this nigga once in Diamond, so I'm putting the Gohan from the superhero movie. Cause it wouldn't make sense for me to put in Gohan from Z, even though I prefer that Gohan over this atrocity of a form. It would just make the most sense to use the newest version of bro. Then we can put in Broly from Super, cause this hard ass manga panel, that shit hard. Frieza because he's an iconic villain, so he gotta be here. And to finish it off, put that boy Cell, cause he's perfect for my roster, and he's also been in the previous game. And that will be my roster for Dragon Ball. Naruto, we all love Naruto. Might be the best in the big 3, which is debatable. But for the roster, Team 7 gotta be in there. Cause even if they didn't start it, they made the 2 boys 1 girl shonen group trope way more popular. And once again, it's obvious cause, you know, they're the main characters. But I still want to say my other reasons too. Then the leader of Team 7, Kakashi. Then we got Itachi and Madara, cause I feel like those 2 are the best Uchiha characters to fit in here. And the final spot, I'll probably just have Boruto. It's still the sequel to Naruto, so it makes sense to fit in here. And last but not least is Bleach. The best drip, the best art style, the best women characters. Ichigo, Rukia, Byakuya, Aizen, and Yoruichi are gonna be who I choose in here. Cause I really had trouble with who I really wanted to add here, cause there's so much characters I can choose from. And then the last 2 I chose Kenpachi, cause bro is just an absolute smoke demon, and I love those type of characters. And then last is Yu Hakuba, whatever that nigga's name is, cause there's like different pronunciations for that shit. But either way, I'm getting off track. Final major villain of Bleach, fits perfectly. And now, since I'm done with the big 3, including Dragon Ball, it's time for the new generation. If you consider 2016 and now as new gen. I'ma start Jujutsu Kaisen first. Let's get the obvious answers out the way. Itadori, Megumi, Gojo, and Sukuna. They have to be there because they're well known. Then you can add Maki and Toji, or replace Maki with Yuta. But I decided to go with Maki because usually women characters are barely in these type of games. And Maki's a fucking cool ass character, so I'm gonna put it here. Now I'm finally at my favorite new gen, aka the best ever. My Hero Academia, aka My Peak Academia. Still can't believe they copyrighted my video, bro. That shit's actual age. But anyways, gotta have Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki since they're the top 3 of UA. All Might gotta be here. We can add Uraraka since she's the main girl of the show. Then we can add Shigaraki and All For One, since these 2 are basically the final antagonists of the show. The My Peak Academia roster has been completed. And to finish it off, we got Demon Slayer. Kanjo, Nezuko, Zenitsu, and Inosuke will have to be here. Then Giyu and Shinobu, since they're the Hashira with more screen time than anyone else. And last is Akaza, because I feel like he fits the spot, since we saw him very early as an introduction to the upper moons. Alright, I'm done with new gens. I'm just gonna add people who should probably be here no matter what. Jotaro and Dio. Add my boy Yusuke. Still need that Yu Yu Hakusho remake. Where the fuck is it at? Yugi and Kenshiro. And then add Gintoki, because Gintama has characters I heavily enjoy. And he's been in previous games. And for the last spots, I'm putting Hunter x Hunter there. Gon, Killua, Kurapika, and Meryl, because they're all in Jump Force and the most well known. And then add Crollo, because Crollo's better than Hisoka by far. Though you gotta be an intellectual being to understand what happens in this fight. Finally, this is my roster of characters that I will put in a new anime crossover game. I feel like my shit a 10 out of 10. Actually, not even a 10 out of 10, a 100 out of 10. My list is immaculate. And now for real this time, that's all I got for this topic. I hope we get a crossover game sooner or later. But anyways, go ahead and like the video game and go watch my other videos too. And I'll catch y'all on the next one.
Gotta get a bag up, straight to take my bag home.